Welcome to my Shark Week card event for 2025, and today we're going to be creating a card with stenciling on stamps. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Okay, I am starting with the big bold letters. I've used these a lot in my projects for Shark Week card event because I love them so much. I'm using letters A through K and L through V, so they come in different stamp sets because they are so big. And so I'm going to spell out the word C. Obviously you could spell out whatever you wanted, and I'm doing this on mixed media white cardstock. So I'm going to get these with a little bit of ink first. And so I believe I start with Salvaged Patina, and I'm going to ink that up, and then we're going to do some stenciling. Really quick, I'm going to ask a question towards the end of the video if you want to enter in for the giveaway, which I have pinned at the top in the live chat comments what the giveaway is for. Then answer in the comments, and then I will post who the winner is in the comments as well. Email me at createitwithjoy@gmail.com with your email and your preferred email and your address, depending on if it's a gift card or product that I'll be sending you. For product, it is US only. For the gift card, it is for anybody. So, okay, so I'm stamping that with Salvaged Patina. So this is the base color that we are going to start with. I'm going to ink this up again. I'm using the Misty for this. I think you need the Misty for this. You absolutely need some sort of stamping tool, stamp positioning tool, unless you're really amazing with an acrylic block. Okay, then I'm using the Scallop stencil from scrapbook.com. I'm going to stick that to my stamps, and I'm going to take my Dome Foam blender tool and Peacock feathers, and I'm going to start at the top. Now, I did not move my stamps from originally stamping them on cardstock. And I'm tapping down with a lot of ink. I really made sure that my ink pads were nice and juicy, and I'm using the Foam Dome blender tool to really stamp down. Now, what's really cool is the stencil sticks to your photopolymer stamps because they're sticky. So I still held it in place with my hands, and I'm not rubbing, I'm tapping with the ink. I really want to get a lot of good ink on. Now I'm using Uncharted Mariner because I went part way down with Peacock feathers, and now I'm going to do at the bottom of the letters, I am going to get these ink blended. So Uncharted Mariner, let's stamp that. So I'm not stamping, I'm pressing down. So you can see here, I'm giving a nice good press, letting that blend into the Peacock feathers. So we're going to get this two-toned look, but because we already stamped the word C with Salvaged Patina, you're going to see that through the stencil. Does that make sense? So let's remove the stencil. So really ink it up really, really good. And then make sure everything is lined up again, like your paper hasn't moved, and press down really, really good. I'm just using one of my crafty cloths to rub down on the lid of the Misty and lift that up. Look at that background, you guys. It is so simple and easy, and look at how fantastic that turned out. So the key there is really make sure that your ink pads are nice and juicy. I'm going to see what this looks like with what's left over on my stamp set. Ooh, look at that. So we didn't stamp again. We just have the white behind it. That's pretty awesome. So you could trim that out, use it however you want, and that could be part of your background too. So you could get 2 for 1. I love that. I am using Sunkissed patterned paper in this kind of coral color. I'm just trimming it down so it'll fit my sentiment that's C. And I trimmed around that too, just kind of up close with my paper trimmer. And I'm just trimming the cardstock, and I trimmed that too short because clearly I don't know how to measure. But I want a nice little matte behind it, just a little bit of this kind of corally pinky orange that I got from the Sunkissed patterned paper. So there's some solid colors in there as well. I've got that trimmed down, and I think we are good there. maybe just a little bit. I'm going to trim a tiniest bit off. So create a mat with some colored cardstock behind your sentiment. And I wanted just a little bit behind it, and I'm making sure that everything is even. So this is maybe like even a 1/16 of an inch around. It is up to you how much you want around it, but that's what I'm going to do. Okay, on another piece of A2 size white cardstock, I'm just going to use some low tack tape to attach that same scallop stencil. So we're going to stencil our background now. And we're going to do this in a few colors. So we're going to use Squeezed Lemonade, Dried Marigold, and Kitsch Flamingo. That's going to be this background. So fun kind of sunset colors. I love these colors with blue. So I'm going to use my Dome Foam Blender tools. You can use whatever you have. I like these when I'm trying to create a really good solid background, which ultimately this is, even though we're going through a stencil. I feel like they hold on to the ink good, and you can get a really good stenciled background. So let's start with the Squeezed Lemonade. That is going to be at the bottom. And then we'll just ink blend into each other, if that makes sense. So the next color will be Dried Marigold, and then the final color will be Kitsch Flamingo. And I'll ink blend into that yellow. I think I do bring that yellow back in and kind of, you know, make the transition soft between the two colors. Yep, I did that with the yellow. We'll go a little bit up into here. That way the pink can blend down into the Dried Marigold. So I'm just going to turn that around. It's easier for me to ink blend if I have it turned around. I know that's kind of funny, but it totally is just easier for me. But look at how pretty those colors are. I am loving that. Let me go back in. Again, just making sure I have a nice transition between all of the colors. And I think that is looking really good. Okay. I don't even know what my next move is. Oh, my splatter box. We are going to add some fossilized amber. This is optional distress spritz. I wanted it for the shimmer. It's kind of gold to me, and so I love it. So I'm going to leave my stencil on. I don't necessarily want it getting on the white areas, although I think in a couple spots it does. Not the end of the world, but shaking that up really good. I'm just going to mist over so I don't splatter. I'm going to mist over this. And so then when you peel back the stencil, all of the areas that we inked, if you shine it in the light, are very, very shimmery. It looks so pretty. And especially once it dries, you really can see the shimmer. So leave your stencil on, do a little bit of spritz. I'm giving it a second to dry a little, and then I'm going to peel that back. And then you can see how shimmery, shiny each one of those little scallops are. I love that. So, so pretty. All right, let's bring out, keep that splatter box out. I'm going to actually just splatter this time with the fossilized amber on our sentiment background. So I'm going to take the whole lid off and just use that and tap and add the splatter to everything. So I think I was thinking, do I want to spray? Do I want to splatter? But I do end up splattering. Okay, so let me get these splattered onto here. I'm liking the big splatter on it. I like the contrasting color, you know, using like a gold. You could use a similar color. That'd be pretty too, but I like the contrasting with this card design for sure. And then I am going to take my heat tool to this and dry it. I don't want to accidentally smear it. I want to make sure it's nice and dry so when we get to it, we get to it. Now, in your homework, I had you guys die cut the sentiment, the fun and the sun, but that was one of the things that when I went to create all my lists and everything, that was no longer available. I couldn't really find something like comparable. So I just decided like let you guys figure out what you wanted to use as far as your sentiment goes. You could just leave it sea and sand. But if you have a sentiment that you're going to die cut, I did say die cut the sentiment from white. Because then we're going to do a little bit of ink blending on it. So look at how pretty that is. That's going to be in the center of that fun background. We're going to adhere that to that piece that we die cut. That's going to give us a nice matte behind it. And we're going to do sentiments a few different ways, I realized on this card, which is kind of fun. But let's take our scissors and distress the edges. Now this is, you know, really like the thinner cardstock. It's from a patterned paper pad, so it's a little bit thinner. So be careful with your scissors. If you get a little too enthusiastic, you're going to rip your paper. And ask me how I know. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this background as well. This is the mixed media, so you can be a little bit rougher. And even though my stuff is dry, I'm trying not to stick my fingers in anything. I'm like, I just don't want something happening, because that was just a lot of work. Good work to create that fun stenciled sentiment. Okay, so that is all good. Loving that. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question. Have you seen a shark in the wild? Comment in the live chat below. I will put the winner in the live chat below. The winner you can see, or the prizes you're going for, or prize, is pinned at the top in those comments. So have you seen a shark in the wild? Like, were you snorkeling? Were you, I almost said skydiving, and that doesn't even make sense. Scuba diving. Were you on the beach? Like, you know, have you seen a shark in the wild? I have not seen a shark in the wild. I have seen sharks at the, like, shark, I can't remember what it's called, but it's in Vegas, and they had, I don't know if they still have it anymore, a shark display, and you go down, it looks like you're in a sunken ship, and ooh, that gave me claustrophobia. I did not love it. So you're under the water with the sharks. But that's where I've seen them. I've never seen them in the wild, in their home territory. Okay, so we die cut those sentiments. I left them in my paper. I just ink blended with the Salvaged Patina, and then you have the shadow piece that I left white. So again, your sentiment is going to be different if you don't have this die, and again, I apologize for that. I did not know that was going to go away. So now that that's ink blended, I can just pop them out. I do like to, if they stay in my cardstock, leaving small images or sentiments or things like that. If I'm going to ink blend, I do like leaving them in there. It makes it so much easier to just get a quick ink blend on them. So I'm going to use my glue and kind of spell out the letters on here, and then I can just pop it out and place it down. So, and I had the wrong Pick Pro tool because that is my little end for burnishing rub-on transfers. So I am going to adhere this down. I'm going to add the glue to this. I think I changed my mind on how I was going to do it. This makes it so much easier. And so I'm going to glue it down this way. I also wanted to mention that this is the second to last video for Shark Week. Tomorrow will be the last one. It's a really fun one. It's not a card, it's a fun project. So I hope you join me for that, because I've been having so much fun chatting with you guys. Let's get these glued down. I don't want to lose my little dot to my eye. I tend to lose those a lot. So I really do try to keep those in the cardstock if they'll stay. So this sentiment is going to say fun in the sea and sand. And we are going to use the Mintay's Coastal Memories paper stickers words. Again, I've used that a lot. Trying to pick some things, trying to use things multiple times for all of these projects. Okay, so we got that down. That is really cute. And then let's pull those sticker words. And I am pulling the one that says oh, what does it say? Sun and sand, but I just want the and sand. So I'm going to adhere that because it is a sticker. I'm going to adhere that to some white cardstock, and then I can trim that sentiment out. I'm going to trim off the other piece that I don't need, but I do save that in case I need it for something else. So I'm going to rub that down, and then I'm going to trim around that with my scissors. I don't end up distressing that, which I think I probably just forgot. So you can if you want to. I think I may have forgotten to, but you can distress that with your scissors if you want. And I will add some foam adhesive behind that as well. So that's cute. Let me trim the excess off of this. Okay, so now we have our sentiments, and it looks like we can start putting this card together. So we have our stenciled A2 size background. This will of course be adhered to an A2 size card base. And we're going to adhere that. The fun and the will be at the top. We have the C in the center, and then I will figure out where to put and sand. I think I'm going to put it over here. Looks great to me. I like the layout. Again, this is something you could do with any stencil, really. You know, depending on the size. If it's like a big open stencil, it's not going to translate well, but if you have smaller images, it's going to be great. Or a repeating image like these scallops, that's going to work. So if you think about that, you can translate this into any type of card or project that you want to do. Let's glue this stuff together. I am going to add 1mm foam adhesive behind our sentiment C. Just gives you the smallest lift, really nice, so it's not directly flat to that. And then I will adhere that to our little corally mat that we trimmed out from the Sunkissed pattern paper. And that pattern paper has such cute patterns in it. Like, I love it. And if you don't get it glued down straight, it's going to mess up your background. And so I had to just fix that, slide that over just a little bit, and I got it. So we're good. So make sure you adhere your stuff down straight. Then you don't have a problem. Like I said, I always look at those little crabs. Isn't that cute? Pattern paper. Those little crabs are darling. And then I do 1mm behind this. Now, could you just do 2mm? Sure. But I wanted dimension between each layers of cardstock. So that is why I did it that way. So I'm going to center this side to side, but a little bit towards the bottom because I do have the other sentiment that's going to go above that. So let's place that down. Darling. Then I'm going to do 1mm foam adhesive strips behind the Fun and the Sun sentiment, and 1mm behind the and sand sentiment. So everything has 1mm, even though the big part is 2mm high. Okay, let's place this at the top, and we're going to finish this with some reflection dewdrops. I've used that in some of my other projects, but any kind of dewdrops or any kind of sequence, or you could use like a Pops of Color or a Nouveau drops or anything like that. You could use that as well. Let's place that sentiment right there. Oh, I do distress it. It does not look like it on my card. I did very minimal. Okay, let's bring in those little dewdrops and just a few of those around. I like these, even if they're just clear. These have a little bit of like iridescence to them, but even the clear ones, it just looks like fun bubbles in the water. So I really like those. So I'm going to pour those into my sort and stack tray, my small one, because this does have multiple sizes, and I love that. I'm someone who really wants a choice that way. So I am going to add a few of these on the A, 3 of those, and then 3 of those on the S. All 3 different sizes. And I'm using the sticky end of my Pick Pro tool Let me just slide those around. I do like to cluster like my sequins and things like that around my sentiment. So that first one is around the and sand, even though all of it's a sentiment really. But I like to do that. That's usually where I'll start and then kind of work out from there most of the time. And then a little bit of liquid glue. And then this card is finished. This will be adhered to a white A2 size card base. So let's do that. And I want to say, I hope again that you guys are enjoying Shark Week. I'm enjoying it with you. I'm enjoying chatting live with you. Let me know what you think of this format. If you like this, or if you liked it the other way that I had it, where it was a little more sped up videos and you didn't have to craft along, let me know. But how darling is this? Look at all the sparkle and the shimmer and the stenciling on stamps. I love how that turned out. I think it looks fantastic. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Join me again tomorrow night for our last Shark Week card event video, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.